All right, everybody, welcome back. We're excited to be here for the Week 15 edition of the 2021 season of the BSB. I'm Sean Kaus,
I'm Tony James.
and we're your betting strategy brothers. Just a quick reminder for you guys that we are here to teach and to help. We are both teachers by day. Hopefully someday that will change, but right now we are teachers by day. I would love to be doing this with you on a daily basis. Oh, that's a dream job for me, Tony. I can't tell you. If we were getting paid to do this, and this was our job to be talking about this every day, I guess I'm just thinking about it. But it's not what we are right now. Right now, we're just teachers. We're here to help, so we can't guarantee our predictions. Hopefully, you pick up some good stuff. Maybe you say that's not good. I disagree. Whatever you do with it, hopefully, we're helping you learn. We're helping you make decisions.
100%. If this was my job during the day and I just get to watch games and track stats and draw conclusions, I mean, that's all math stuff too. So we're all really good at that already.
I agree.
And have a few drinks at the same time. I'm totally in. Where do I sign? Can I sign up
I
now?
agree.
I got my pen.
I agree.
Ready to go.
I know that business world does a lot of drinking in their office a lot of the time. So we don't get to do that in the schools. That's okay.
Nope.
But
yeah,
it would be nice if we could do. So speaking of drinking, along with our bets, we love our drinking. So what are you drinking this week there, BS?
Well, I'm doing some wine tonight. It's wine time. This is from a winery called Love and Exile Wines in Nashville, Tennessee. Carter Hutton of the Coyotes he's got a stake in it. So I found that out, and I know he can't stop a puck right now, but I was like, maybe he's a decent wine guy. It's not bad, man. For a canned wine, it's called indecent. I would say it's not. It's decent. It's pretty good. So I will definitely be buying again.
Well, hey, they won tonight, so why not?
Hey, exactly.
Well, this week, I closed on my new house, so
Yes.
now instead of going and filling up my fridge, I'm trying to empty everything. So it's kind of a fridge empty day. So I had actually some leftovers from other times. So I got some Stone IPA left. For those of you that remember, I think it was about 4 weeks ago, I went with this and it came in a 6-pack. And I think I finished the 6-pack while we were doing our show. So I had to go back the next day. So I had to go back the next day and have it for Sunday, which I did, but I had 2 left over. So I'm having those. And after I finish those, I always have 30 packs of my fave
LBLs.
So I'm going to go to that and try to clean it out and make it easier to move. So that's what I'm drinking this week.
I love your justification there. I'm trying to make it easier for you to help me move my refrigerator. And so I'm going to take care of my part, and I'm going to do what I can to help you. I love it. I'm 14 out of 10 would recommend.
Hey, I got to look out for everybody, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
All right. So before we get in this week, let's see how we did last week.
All right.
You know what?
Pretty good.
Well, pretty good. I literally had an exact push. What I spent is what I got back, and I had to check the math like 10 times because once again, guys at home, we do way more than this on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. We're betting every day. We're betting on hockey, betting basketball. We're betting Grey Cups. We're going crazy. We do. So I had to check my math on this like a couple of times and from a couple of calculus teachers that says something. But yeah, I literally got back what I bet. And I'll take that all day long because you know what? It's enjoyable to watch games and root for something. And actually last week, overall, everything I did pretty well. And I actually made a lot of money. But just the bets I put in here, I broke even, and I'll take that all day long. So I lost my straight bet on Cincy. That cost me $30. And what's funny about that is I actually was talking to people and they're like, "Oh, I won my bet." And I'm like, "No, you didn't. You took San Francisco." They're like, "Yeah, I won." And I'm like, last I had looked, since he was up, and I'm like, "Oh, they won. And then all of a sudden, and that was like 2 minutes left or whatever it was. And all of a sudden they lost. I'm like, oh shit, they did lose. So it was pretty funny to me. But then I'm like, damn it, I had Cincy. But I did win my 14 parlay of Green Bay, Tennessee, Seattle, and Denver. That 21 me 22. Army, I can't freaking believe they couldn't beat. I just can't believe it. That lost me $22. My teaser was shot 3 or 4 ways, I think. So my teaser just went to shit quick. So I was 20 there. My prop bets, I did okay on. Kamara went over 72 yards. So that 22 won me 20. Eckler scored a TD. That 25 won me 16. However, Eckler did not go for over 105, I think was the bet. All-purpose yards, I think he had like 84. So that lost me 11. Wilson only threw 1 interception, not 2. So that lost me 10. And Allen threw an interception, but TB12 did not. So that's me 25. But to save me, I hit my teaser of New Orleans and Jacksonville, Tennessee under. That $10 won me 60. That's the main reason I pushed this week. I bet 195, got 195. It's an even push, and I love it. I'm happy with that.
That's a beautiful thing, and especially, you know what I'm looking at is I'm looking at your trend. Your trend is going up because there was a couple weeks ago where you just took it right in the shorts, and now you're back to even. So that just means you're going to do better this week, which is really, really good.
I agree. How'd you do?
Not as good, but I didn't do terrible. So I lost my straight pick with the Cardinals, and that was a big one for me. That was $44. Man, I thought they were gonna pull it off at the end, but not so much. I lost my Grey Cup parlay for 20, and my teaser thanks to Washington for 30. And then I lost another teaser because of the Jets. Because when
are you gonna learn not to bet on the Jets?
I will show you this week that I learned my lesson. I promise you. But I did hit my 4-team afternoon teaser, so that was good. I lost my Herbert over passing yards prop bet, and I lost my pleaser because of Buffalo. I thought they were going to pull it off at the end. I really did. But that was just
yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. If I try not to ever blame the refs, but come the hell on. Like, give me a pass interference. I'm sorry. Anyway, so how so you bet what? How much you bet? How much you get back?
So I bet 154. I got 70 back. I was down 84.
Not terrible. About half back.
I wasn't like, I was bummed. Like, a couple of the decisions I made with my betting were just, I looked at them afterwards and I was like, man, why did I do that? Like, I really thought Washington was going to play a little bit better. I thought that the Jets were really going to play a little bit better. And then I think I gave you that stat about the Jets having the same amount of wins against winning teams as Tampa Bay. And so I was like, oh, the Jets should be, yeah, the Jets are fucking awful.
Well, in Washington, you got Heineke got hurt, so that didn't help either.
No, that's true. And you know what? And here's the hard part, right, Calson? We talked about this a bunch of times. We can't guarantee anything we predict. Look, I didn't know he was going to get injured. But, it's
Correct.
just something that happens. And that's, you take your lumps and you move on, right? So that's Agreed. That.
So I started with 1175 last week, and hey, I got 1175 again this week, plus my extra 100 that we started, that we have budgeted every week. Every week we budget ourselves 100 that goes into this. You started with 1056, down to 972 plus the weekly 100. So, all right.
You're a little bit ahead of me, but I have a feeling this week I'm going to catch you.
I hope
I've got some good ones this week. I promise you.
Yeah. You went with some underdogs and I didn't so much. So let's get into it. So once again, we're going to start with straight bets. Straight bets, we're just talking about, hey, are they going to win? Are they going to lose? Or is it over and under? And a straight bet can be with the spread, or it can be just what they call the money line, where there's no spread, just win or lose. So this week, I went against what you like. But I've been pretty money on over-unders recently, knock on wood. So I'm going with Vegas Cleveland under 40. I'm only putting $11 on it. My 11 is going to win me 10. Look, first of all, Carr is terrible in the cold. We all know that it's at Cleveland. It's going to be cold. Um, the biggest thing here is Vegas got screwed. They got 100% screwed by moving this forward and moving this to Tuesday and giving Cleveland a chance to get their players healthy when Vegas could have just taken advantage of that and run. Now I get what they're saying. We want, there is that part. Like me personally, I always want to play the best.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to beat the best when I'm playing at a game, when I'm doing something. And obviously, I'm too old and fat now, so me playing a game is usually pretty like ping pong or maybe a video game or something. But
Yeah.
give me the best, and I want to beat the best. I don't want a freaking easy buy playing crap. So there is that aspect of it. But Vegas, there's also like, hey, playoffs and everything, and whatever you got to do to get in, whatever happens. So Vegas kind of got screwed on that. But either way, I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game. Vegas has proved they haven't been scoring points. I don't think Cleveland's going to have everybody back like
Mm-hmm.
they think they're going to, but I really think this is going to backfire on them. I think waiting till Tuesday, we'll have some players back. I don't think it's going to happen. And even if you do, they're going to be a little rusty from not being able to practice and everything. So I'm saying under 40 is very, very obtainable. I'm looking at a 14-10.
Mm-hmm.
13-20 type game, something like that. So I'm going under 40 there. That's my straight pick for the week.
Yeah, last year when they played in Cleveland, I believe it was week 4 or 5 last year, or maybe it was week 3. I don't remember. It was early in the season, but it was brutally cold, abnormally windy, and it was 16-6. And so
Yeah.
I completely see that. I see this totally possible. I think Vegas got boned here. They're already in Cleveland because they're supposed to play tomorrow, and now they don't get to play till Monday. So it's like, well, what the hell do we do for 2 days, right? We go through our walkthroughs again in the hotel, and I don't think this is good for anybody. I think it's good for you though. I think the under's going to be in play. It's December in Cleveland. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been to a game in December in Cleveland, but I can tell you from experience, it's no fun.
Well, I've been to a game in December in Buffalo. It can't be much different. So
That's true. Good point.
I also know that the under is 4-1 in the last 5 times in Cleveland in these two teams.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to like that as well. You went college on your straight pick after I once again went back to college last week, got my ass kicked. I'm taking a week off from college again, although I'm going to hit the Bulls pretty hard.
I'm so happy it's bowl season. I can't even see straight. And tomorrow I'm going with something that I think is going to be I think this is a slam dunk. I'm taking BYU -6.5 versus Alabama Birmingham in the Independence Bowl. That $33 is going to win me 28. BYU is clearly the better team. It's not even close. BYU got hosed badly. They should have been in a bowl game that was more closer to New Year's, or a more prominent bowl game. They got stuck in the independent. Yeah, exactly. They got stuck in the Independence Bowl. They got stuck playing the first Saturday. They're going to be pissed. I think they come out. They just take UAB right out of the gates. Keep in mind, this is a UAB program that got shut down, that restarted again 3 years ago. So I think BYU just has better players. They have a better offense. When you look at this BYU schedule, look at the teams they beat. They beat Utah this year. They beat ASU. They beat Utah State, who's in a bowl game and a conference champion. They lost at Baylor, who played in the Big 12 championship game. Really? They beat Virginia. They whooped Virginia. They beat USC. This is a team that's on a mission. I think they win this game 38-10. I'm going with the Storm and Mormons here.
Hey, why don't you tell everybody why you took them on the spread instead of the money line? What's your strategy there?
Yeah, I took them on the spread because I was getting better payback. They're favored by 6.5. So on the money line, that was a -255. So if I would have bet $33 on it, I wouldn't have gotten nearly as much back. I would have got $14, $15 back. By taking them with giving up the 6.5 points, I'm essentially able to double my return.
I agree. And if you're that confident that they're going to whoop them, a touchdown that's less than a touchdown. So I think
exactly
that's the thing to do. All right, so this week, instead of parlays, we usually do parlays at this part of our show. We're still doing a parlay, so to speak, but we're doing a round robin. And what a round robin does is it takes all the teams and puts them in different parlays, however you design it to. Okay.
Mhm.
So I have a 4 team, you have a 4 team where you can go, I want team one versus team one versus team two, and that's its own parlay. Team two versus team three, that's its own parlay. 3 versus 4, that's its own parlay. And then I can go 1, 2, 3 as a parlay, 2, 3, 4 as a parlay, 1, 2, 4, 2, 3, 4. You can do whatever you want, but a round robin sets up all these little parlays. Now, it doesn't give you better or worse odds doing a round robin parlay. It just
Mhm.
makes it so you don't have to put team one versus team two, bet. Team two versus team three, bet. Team three versus team four, bet. You can just pick these 4 teams, make a round robin, and it makes all the parlays for you. And you can choose. Do you only want to do 2 teams? Do you only want to do 3 teams? Do you want to do 2s and 3s? Do you only want to do 4? Like, you can pick whatever you want. So I did a 4-teamer,
Mhm.
and I did all of the bets you could do. So I did all of the 2-teamers, I did all of the 3-teamers, and the 1 4-teamer, which makes 11 total bets. And this is where people really get confused, because if you do 11 total bets, you're paying each bet. So
Yes.
sometimes people will say, like, hey, I'm doing a round robin. I'm going to do $3 on a round robin. Well, that's going to cost you $33 if you're doing 4 teams and all of them, because you have to pay for each bet. But
Mhm.
each bet has its own payout. So, like I said, it's 2s and 3s, and you can decide, do you only want 2s and 3s, and you don't want the 4-teamer? Do you want just the 2s? What do you want? So I chose all of them in my 4-teamer. I have Buffalo, Miami, Jacksonville, Dallas. And I have 11 bets because I did 2 through 4. That I have $5 per bet, so I'm betting $55. And my
Mhm.
55 is only going to win me 45 if everybody wins. So what happens here is, okay, I got Buffalo, Miami, Jacksonville, Dallas. If let's just say Jacksonville loses, Buffalo, Miami still wins, and they still win me money.
Mhm.
Miami, Dallas still wins. They still win me money. Buffalo, Dallas wins. They still win me money. Buffalo, Miami, Dallas, the 3-teamer still wins, and I still get some money back because of those parlays. But every other parlay that has Jackson involved with it loses. Okay.
Yes.
Now, all of those are favorites this week. So all of those are going to be minus money, which is why my 55 is only winning me 45. But I don't see why any of these teams lose. Okay, my justification, now that I've talked about what it is, my justification here is Buffalo. They're playing Carolina. Carolina, excuse me. Cam has 4 turnovers in the past 2 games. Um, and that's not going to change here. He's going to turn the ball over. You talk about Josh Allen being turnover hungry. Well, Carolina's the same way. They're going to keep turning it over. Um, they currently have a better chance to get a top 5 pick in the draft than they do to make the playoffs. That's currently where they're at. So when you're looking at that and you go, okay, where are you going with this? I don't believe teams, like, I don't believe players specifically lose, um, but I do believe organizations do. So it might be a thing of we're not trying to lose, but we're not going to play our starting quarterback. Cam's not playing today. We're going to
Mhm.
we're going to play Joe Schmo from round 3 because Cam is hurt or whatever. So, but I don't think it matters. I think Buffalo comes in and rolls. They showed what they could do against Tampa last week. They should have won that game and they didn't. So I think they're ready. Miami's playing the Jets. Miami's won 5 straight, believe it or not. They are on fire, and they might be one of the first teams in like 20 years, I think it was when I last looked, to start the year more than 5 games out of 500 and going to end the year at 500 or over.
Mhm.
And people are taking note of Miami. Miami's defense, I said it at the beginning of the year, Miami I was afraid of, and then they just could not figure it out. Part of that had to do with Buffalo knocked Tua out, and then you had to go with Brissett. But Miami's 6-1 against the spread. Um, Under Flores, and at home this year. Sorry, at home this year. Um, the Jets are 0-4 against the spread. They're 1-9-1 against the spread in the last 11 against Miami. I don't see anything where the Jets can pull this off. They're just playing for the
No.
they're fighting for the number one spot, so number one draft pick. I don't think they're going to get it, but I don't see anything here. Jacksonville. Look at the coaches that got fired this year, both NFL and college. Every team that had a coach fired this year, the first game after the coach got fired, they won. Every single team. First year after the coach got fired or left, every single team won. In the NFL, it was Gruden. Gruden leaves, they won. In college, it was like 3 or 4 teams where the coaches either left or got fired, and they won the following week. Jacksonville's going to take a boost. Urban Meyer's an asshole. I'm glad he's gone. His fucking career is over. He's never coaching again. Screw him. He's an asshole. I hate him. I'm so glad he's done. And I'm really happy for Trevor Lawrence because I'm a fan of Trevor Lawrence, and I'm really happy to see what he can do under a better coach. But I think it's going to be a boost. I think everybody's going to have a weight off their shoulder without an asshole leading them. And they're going to do good, and they're going to score more than they've been scoring in a while. I still think that game's going to go under, but they're going to win. It also helps that Travis Mills is on the other side, and Houston is 0-7 outright and 2-5 against the spread with Davis Mills as their quarterback. So they can't win that. Dallas is questionable week to week, but they're playing the Giants this week, and the Giants are just terrible, especially with everybody injured. And you never know what Saquon Barkley you're going to get. You know, in the past 4 meetings between these two teams, 2 times he ran for like over 200 yards and 2 times combined for 50 yards. So it's like, what Saquon are you going to get? And I think they're not going to get the good one, and it's going to be Dallas just running away with it. Look, there's a lot of teams this week that are like, I can clinch the playoffs if we win and this team loses, and this team loses, and this team ties, and this – Dallas is one of those teams where it's like, if we win and everything else happens, we clinch the playoffs. First thing you have to do is take care of yourself and winning, and I think Dallas is going to do that. So that's my 4-team round robin.
Yeah, I love this. I love this bet. I love Buffalo especially. I mean, McCaffrey's on the COVID list now, so that's a Chuba Hubbard game, and Cam is smoke and mirrors to me. I'm really impressed with the turnaround that Miami has had. They don't even look like the same team anymore. And I think it was that game against Baltimore where it kind of started to turn around for them because they pretty much whooped Baltimore's ass up and down the field.
You are absolutely correct.
And ever since then, they seem unstoppable, which is great for them and bad news for everybody else. It's great news for your round robin this week. I also agree with you with Jacksonville, and I think that Dallas is just a better team against the Giants. Now we know that like silly things happen in that series, right? Like I think it was 2 years ago, or maybe it was Manning's last game against Dallas. Like the Giants are awful, and he goes in there into Dallas and leads them to victory. Like strange shit happens in this rivalry. But I full on expect Dallas to come out and win this game and win it soundly. So this looks like a winner to me for sure.
Yeah, and strange shit always happens in divisional games. And Dallas, once again, another thing, they can clinch the division with them, and like Washington and Philly tying or something stupid like that. So, but they, once again, they have to take care of winning, and I think they will. So, what do you go with?
Well, I've got a round robin as well. I went with a couple of plus money teams on my round robin, so it's going to pay a little bit more if everything comes through. But
more than a little bit.
I'm hoping that I learned my lesson. I'm taking New England, Cincinnati, Jacksonville, and Miami. With these 11 bets, my 5 will win me 197. I'm totally with you on the Florida teams. I exact same reasons. Cincinnati, I like them. They are actually 4-0 in their last 4 meetings in Denver, which is surprising because Denver's a hard place to play, especially for teams back east. It's a very tough place to play. The road team is 4-0 in the against the spread in the last 4 meetings as well. I think Cincinnati is going to win this game. I think Cincinnati has last week against San Francisco, the week before against San Diego, I think, or I owe $1 to the jar now, against the Chargers. They're missed opportunities for Cincinnati, and that could be their season right there. You win one of those games and you're in a way better playoff position. I think they're upset about that. I think they go into Denver and prove that they're the better team. And with New England, they're playing the Colts on Saturday. I'm surprised that New England's not favored. The run that they've been on right now, I find it very difficult to bet against them on this run. They're playing incredible. They're playing championship caliber football. We'll talk towards the end of the show about what I think about them. And the cool thing about this, my 55 will pay me 197 because New England and Cincinnati are underdogs. Because they're underdogs and because they're plus money, that gives me a bump on several of my 11 bets. And so with that, that's why I'm almost looking at a 4-1 payback on this versus your 55 to win 45.
Correct. And that's a big plus to round robin. If you're going to do, when you're going to do underdogs in there, especially on the money line, we're not taking spreads, they're going to get more plus money, and that gives you more bets where you have plus money and a parlay bet, and that always is good for you. Look, with the Cincinnati's 4-1 against the spread on the road this year. I think that continues next week. Once again, I still have my bet. It's still live for Joe Burrow being comeback player of the year. I put that before the year even started. I think that happens. Denver has the best defense right now. Like it is still. I'm going to keep saying that just because I'm so astounded with Von Miller leaving, and now you have the best defense. Like, how does that happen? I don't get it. It's happening. But here's the thing: when you look at when defense wins championships, they say that, but offense gets you there. Teddy Bridgewater, and we both said on the show we like Teddy B, but he has good games. When you look at what he did against Kansas City, he looked like shit. But I think a lot of that had to do with who he was playing. He's got another good caliber team coming into Cincinnati, and he might not be able to get the looks he's looking for, and it might be another KC game for them as well. So that's not a bad bet at all. With New England, dude, I don't know where to go with this. I love Indy for the fact that Frank Reich is their coach. He's my boy. But man, New England has been on such a run. They're undefeated on the road. They look good. It's hard to bet against them. When you look at the teams, and here's why I know why they're underdogs. And the only reason they're underdogs is because Vegas is looking at them and go, these are the same exact teams. You have Jonathan Taylor in Indy, and you have New England, who are both running the shit out of the ball. New England passed the ball 3 times versus Buffalo. 3 times and won the game. That means their defense is stout and they can run the ball. That's what Indy is. Their defense is stout and they can run the ball. They're the same team. They're just giving the home field advantage to Indy. And not even that much of it because it's not even a full 3. So, that's what's happening here, and that's why that is what it is to me anyway. I don't make the lines in Vegas, but that's what I see. But I see even teams as a Bills fan right now. It's kind of I hope New England loses, but they have to lose out all their games for us to win the division. So it's almost kind of like I kind of want New England to win. And Indy not even be in the playoff spot and make sure, we're in. That's kind of where I'm looking at it. So I kind of hope you're right. But it's hard for me to ever root for New England. But you're picking a spot right here that I wouldn't. It's plus money, so it's a good bet. It's just I don't know at that point, man. It's hard to bet against either one of those teams.
Well, yeah, and you make a great point about the Colts and the Patriots being pretty much the same team. That you're exactly right. I'm going based strictly on the trend right now. You're right. New England looks they haven't lost on the road, which is incredible that they've lost 4 times at home.
Yeah,
right. That's
not a Bill. That's not a Bill Belichick team right there.
Yeah, exactly. And then if you go back to the Cincinnati game, Cincinnati, like there was no way on anybody's earth that you're betting against Denver last week at all. There's just no
Hmm.
way.
Agreed.
With all the stuff that they were going through and they line up with 10 guys. I mean, holy smokes, that was so emotional. But that's kind of done with.
Yeah,
Now and
I
you don't have
agree.
Detroit rolling in. You have Cincinnati rolling in who has way more to play for than Detroit. So that's now the cool thing about this is let's say that New England loses tomorrow night. I still have 6 parlays on the round robin that have action. So that's good news. I mean, yeah, I'm losing one of my plus monies. That 197 is reduced significantly, but I still have 6 parlays in play, and I can still be a winner.
I agree. I agree, and that's a big thing with round robin. It makes it a lot easier. Like I said, it's not doing anything for you that you couldn't do yourself. It just
Hmm.
makes it a lot easier. You could make those 11 bets separately yourself. It
Hmm.
just
For
makes it
sure.
easier for you to do. All
Exactly.
right. Our next bet we do is called teaser bet, where they call it teasing the line. We make the line more beneficial for ourselves.
Hmm.
In doing so, we lose a little bit of money. Our odds aren't as good because we're making it easier for ourselves to win. Vegas is not stupid and say, okay, make it easier for yourself to win, but you're not going to win as much money. And you can pick it too. You can go. We do the normal standard 6, and that's the lowest you can go.
Hmm.
You can go up to 10, but the higher you go, the less money you get. So
Right.
we always on this show go the easiest as 6. So my teaser this week, I have I have a 5 team teaser. I've got New England Indy under 51.5, Detroit plus 19, Miami minus 3.5, the Jets Miami under 47, and Cincy plus 9. We just talked about the New England Indy game. We just talked about how they're running teams. They're going to both be running teams. It's not going to go over 51.5. I understand it's an Indy. I understand it's in a dome. Weather isn't a factor there. I get that. But I still think they're going to go to their strengths, and both their strengths are running, and that's what they're going to do, and they're going to stay under 51. Detroit, look, Arizona wins that game outright. There's no question about that. I don't think you're looking at this huge upset. Oh, yeah, that's easy, and it's going to be an easy upset, too. That's not going to happen. Arizona's going to win that game. But what's happening is you have D Hop out for the year. Okay, out for the year. Now, D Hop has been out a couple of games this year already. So it's not anything different. But knowing he's not there might mess with Kyler Murray a little bit and how he's going to be able to throw, how he's going to be able to do. It's in a dome, so you don't have to worry about playing with cold weather. But I just think they're going to take offensively, they're going to have to do a little adjusting to get used to not having D Hop there. I think
Hmm.
they win by 2 touchdowns, nothing more than that. Even
Okay.
though, yes, on the road they've been money, on the road they've been blowing teams out, and it is Detroit. Detroit's been in like every game this year. They
Yeah.
had, I mean, last week was, but for the
Yeah.
most part, they've been in every game this year, and I don't think that changed. Even though a great Arizona team is coming in, I think they stay in that game. I think Arizona has a little bit of difficulty adjusting to without D Hop there the whole time. Um, they're it's not like, hey, we just got to tailor it for this week for D Hop being out. No, no, no. We have to tailor it
Hmm.
for the regular season without him
Yep.
being out. So that's gonna be a little different for him. So that's why I'm taking Detroit. And that's the one I am worried about that could bite me. But I think I'm gonna be right there. Miami minus 3.5. We already talked about that. And in that same game, I don't think the Jets are going to score. And if they do, it's not going to be much. So I'm going to go ahead and take under 47 in that. And then Cincy, I agree with you that they should win. Denver's got a stout defense. I think it's going to be a close game regardless. So since it's a
Hmm.
close game, I'm going to tease it up. If I can get Cincy plus over a touchdown, I'm going to go ahead and take it. So my 20 is going to win me 84.
Love it all. Love it all. That Detroit game is very interesting. Because you're right. It's almost like Arizona they have to play that first game without their star, right? And what are they going to do? Are they going to handle, because James Conner has been tremendous this year. Are they going to rely more on him? or are you going to rely more on Christian Kirk and Andy Isabella if he even plays? So it's like, which side are you going to go with? Are you going to go with a couple of commodities that are
AJ
like,
Green.
there you
AJ
go.
Green's going to be the money.
But is it like, do you go with a couple of quasi unknowns, or do you go with the sure thing? And I think Cliff's going to go with the sure thing.
I agree.
And the more and we've talked about this before, the more you hand the ball off and the more you run, the shorter the game gets, the fewer possessions, and the closer that game is going to be. And it's not just it's just a math thing, right? It's just a math thing. It's just fewer possessions, fewer points, right?
I agree 100%.
All right. Well, I've got 2 teasers this week, my brother. I'll do my NFL teaser first because we mirror one team on there, Detroit. I also took Detroit plus 19. I've got the Patriots plus 8.5 on Saturday. Then I've got Dallas minus 4.5 against the Giants, Atlanta plus 15.5 at San Francisco, and Baltimore plus 12.5 at home against Green Bay. The one that I'm most concerned about, to be honest with you, is Baltimore, because you know how I'm very outspoken about how I think Baltimore is one of the worst teams in the league, even though they're 8-4 or 8-5 or 9. I don't even know what they are. I think they're 9-4.
8-5. They're 8-5.
8-5. Okay. See, it's and it concerns me though, because I'm not sure about Lamar. And if they go to their backup, I don't know. But I think if they go to their backup, it turns into a run fest. And if it's a run fest, I'll take the nearly 2 touchdowns at home with Baltimore. I think Green Bay wins this game. I don't see a way that they lose it unless Rodgers just, Baltimore has a really good defense, so it could happen. But I think Green Bay pulls this out. But if I can get 12.5 at home, I'll take that every day of the week. Atlanta goes to San Francisco. There's lots of travel there. Atlanta's 6-7, which is very surprising. These teams are only separated by 1 game. But Atlanta's 5-2 on the road. So I think that's going to play into their favor. And I'm not asking Atlanta with getting holy smokes, with getting 15.5 points. I'm not asking them to win the game. I'm asking them to keep it close. And if they can keep it close, I think we're in good shape. And not many people have talked about the season that Matt Ryan is actually having. He's having a pretty darn good year. So, not Super Bowl Matt Ryan, but, he's having a pretty decent season. He's keeping this team in a lot of games that they shouldn't be in. So that's my NFL teaser right there.
I agree with you on Matt Ryan. There's a lot of quarterbacks this year that are having quite literally MVP seasons, but because the records aren't that great, they're not even going to get considered. Matt Ryan, Kirk Cousins, there's a bunch of them that are not even going to get considered because of their records. Now, New England, I think that's going to be a close game. So taking 8.5, I agree. Dallas, I think, rolls the Jets. Detroit, the Giants, sorry. Detroit, we already talked about. Now Atlanta. 15.5 is a lot.
It is.
It's a lot. But Atlanta is 0-4 outright and against the spread against winning teams with winning records this year. So teasing it, if you're going to take Atlanta, you better tease it to at least give yourself a chance. Being in San Francisco, man, I don't know. That's scary to me. That's really scary to me. I wouldn't have taken that. If anything, I would have teased the other way, and I would have taken San Francisco and taken them closer to less than a touchdown. But it's doable. If you're going to take Atlanta, the only way you take them is on a tease. And
100%.
I agree with that. Same thing with Baltimore. Look, but here's I don't think Baltimore covers 12.5. I don't. Rodgers is 4 touchdown passes away from passing Brett Favre for the most touchdown passes by a Packer.
You think he's gonna have one of those games where he just goes off?
I think he's like, all right, let's get it. Look, last week against Chicago, they went in at halftime stunned at how Chicago's even hanging with them, let alone winning. So, and you saw what happened to him in the second half. Oh,
True.
wait a minute. What are we doing? We need to take care of this. And they took care of us. And I think that was them just going in, going, oh, Chicago's going to be an easy walkover game. I own you. And he definitely did. And he proved he owned them. He just walked in way too confident. The whole team did. And he go after the halftime, they went, oh, shit, we need to actually play something here. I think Baltimore, they walk in going, okay, we need to play from minute one or we're screwed. And so I think Aaron Rodgers is going to not let it be that like sleeper game like Chicago almost was. And I think they roll them. I think Rodgers gets 5 touchdowns and just they roll Baltimore. I do.
Here's what I like. Here's what I like about Baltimore, though. As their last 6 games as a home underdog, Baltimore is 5-1 against the spread. And so if I'm taking, so like you mentioned before, the only way that you take Baltimore is if you're teasing that line up. I'm taking that 6.5. I'm teasing it up to 12.5, right? So that way I'm getting almost 2 touchdowns. So if Rodgers does go off, like you think he's going to go off, it doesn't take as much for Baltimore to hang in there and win for me.
I hope you're right. I think, excuse me, I think they're too decimated, especially if Lamar doesn't play. Look, his backup, I forgot his name. He's a little Lamar. He's Lamar Jr. And he's not bad. I just think I'll take Rodgers over Baltimore any day.
You're going to take Rodgers over Tyler Huntley? I mean, are you kidding me?
Yes, Huntley, that's his name. Yes, but over the team, like Rodgers is too damn good. And I'll tell you what, you talk about TB12 is, and I hate to admit this, he's had. It's hard for me to say he's the greatest of all time. What he's done with Tampa definitely helps solidify that, but he's had a lot of help from referees in a lot of games, i.e., can we talk about the tuck rule a little bit here? I mean,
I don't know. That's a sore subject, man. That's
exactly. A sore subject. But this is what I'm saying. Like, there's some stuff that other quarterbacks don't get that Tom does, and so
it's the Jordan rules. It's the Jordan rules for football.
Correct. That's the only part where I get a little leery on it. But I mean, what he's done, what he's accomplished, you can't argue with. I've said before, and I say it again, I always thought Peyton was number 1 and Tom was number 2. The more and more I see what Rodgers does and what his supporting cast is, I'm like, man, I don't know how he's not up there, and he has to be. So I think he shows it again next week.
I think one of the most amazing things about Rodgers too is he spent 4 years watching.
Yeah.
And if he so it's like he's in his 14th or 15th year, but he spent 4 years watching. So that's Correct. That's like he's got 4 years. I mean, if there's somebody else out there who wants to play till they're 45, it's probably Aaron Rodgers. And I don't see a reason why he wouldn't. And I got a super hot take for you there. I bet next year he's a Raider.
Oh, don't get your wishful thinking in there. Don't get that.
It's a package deal. Him and Devontae.
Hey,
Vegas bound.
Don't bring him into the AFC. Buffalo doesn't want that. Don't bring him over here. All right. Well,
I've got another teaser really quick.
You got another teaser. My fault. I almost skipped that. All right. Tell me your other teaser.
All right, I'll go real fast. It's the college teaser tomorrow. I've got Western Kentucky and App State over 60 because Western Kentucky plays all offense and no defense. I've got Utah State plus 13.5 against Oregon State, teasing that up from 7.5. I think Oregon State wins the game, but I think Utah State hangs. I've got Fresno State minus 5.5 tomorrow against UTEP. I think it's just I think Fresno is just going to just run them right out of the building. But I'm teasing it down to 5.5 instead of 11.5. That way it makes my odds a little bit better. Their odds of winning my ticket a little bit better. And I've got Louisiana Lafayette plus 2.5. They're virtually playing a home game in New Orleans in their bowl game. That $30 will win me 78.
Oh, I love that. I love that bet. Utah State.
Conference champion Utah State against a number 4 Pac-12 team. So, and an overachieving Oregon State team.
I
But
know, but everybody loves the Beaver.
it,
So
that is a true statement. That is a very true statement. I I almost went. Yeah, they do like the Beavers. I'm not gonna lie.
All right, so that's our teasers. And once again, I'm going to stop on NCAA this week because I went back to the last and got my dick kicked in. So I'm going to go ahead and stop with that. And we're going to go to our prop bets. Remember, prop bet,
Let's do it.
you can put prop bets together, you can do stuff, but it's basically, it kind of sort of does. It definitely doesn't matter what happens on the outcome. Now, these can influence the outcome, but it doesn't
Mhm.
matter. You could say, you could literally pick that I am going to get into the Bills game and throw an interception. That would be a prop bet. It's not gonna happen. But a prop bet is just something that's going to happen in the game. And I got two of them this week. Last week I went prop heavy. This week I'm going a little less prop heavy, even though there's more I saw that I liked. And one of them was yours. But I'm going back to TB12. And
Yes.
my hate for Tom Brady is showing. But look, the Saints have owned Tom Brady. He's 1-4, 1-4, 1-3, 1-3 against the
Well,
Saints since he's been in Tampa.
he lost twice last year and badly.
Correct. So he doesn't do well against the Saints. I don't care who the quarterback is, he doesn't do well. And Taysom Hill, he's had his problems, especially with that little split he has over his finger on his throwing hand. And I like Taysom Hill, don't get me wrong, but I think they both throw an interception.
Mhm.
That I'm a bet 20 on that. That's going to win me 32. My other one is that the Jets are going to go over 1.5 turnovers, and that $10 is going to win me 12. I think Wilson throws one and fumbles one. I really think that's what happens. But either way, even if it's not Wilson, if it's somebody else that fumbles,
Mhm.
or if they do a flea flick or not a flea flicker, if they do a halfback toss, halfback pass, whatever, and that gets picked or whatever, they try some trick plays. As long as they turn the ball over twice, I get my $12, and I think that's going to happen. So those are my prop bets this week.
Or another butt fumble. That would be epic.
Once
Another butt
again,
fumble. Holy smokes.
you going on the refs.
I I I I like it, man. I like it. I actually have Taysom Hill in my prop bet as well. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's and we talk about interceptions, and interceptions can be one of the most common interceptions is the Hail Mary at the end of the half that doesn't mean anything, or what Bruce Arians likes to do. And we saw this in the championship game, and we saw this in the Super Bowl last year, was if he gets third and a lot, he'll throw the deep pass. And if he gets intercepted, it's like a punt.
Yeah.
And it's like, and so if that happens to Brady this week, and he's like, I got 3rd and 20, I'm just going to throw it deep and see what happens. If he gets picked off, that's good for your prop bet. But it's not really bad for his team if it's just like a punt.
Correct.
So
That's what I'm banking on.
So my prop bet also has Taysom Hill. I have Taysom Hill at least one touchdown, either rushing or receiving. That $10 is going to win me 20. If they get within the 5-yard, inside the 5-yard line, Taysom Hill is getting the ball. I
agree.
And he's just going to go right in. I love his versatility. I think when they had Breeze, Hill was kind of like a secret weapon that they had that they could bring in, which was really good for them. Now that they don't have Breeze, I think it hurts Taysom Hill because now he has to be out there more, and he's not as it's not as much of a surprise, I would say. Yeah, teams can game plan against it, but when you're out there every snap, it's a little bit different than being out there only within the inside the tens.
I agree. And look, the good thing is you basically said Taysom Hill is going to score a touchdown some way. And that That's big because Taysom Hill said numerous times he wants to be the starting quarterback. And to be the starting quarterback, you're not going to rush all the time. I said it last week. I've said it weeks before with Buffalo. Your QB1, your RB1 cannot be the same freaking person. Buffalo,
True.
OC hasn't figured that out. But Sean Payton in New Orleans is smart enough to go, I know that. Taysom Hill is smart enough to know I know that. So
Mhm.
he's going to get the ball, but he might throw it, showing that I am a quarterback more than I am a running back. So doing it either way gets you that plus money, and I love it. And I think that's a good prop bet.
I'm really excited to watch that game just because Brady has struggled again and Tampa's struggled against New Orleans recently.
Yep.
Like last year, with that they lost like 38-3 at home.
Yeah.
I mean, and it wasn't even that close, if I remember right.
Correct.
Like New Orleans got out to a
Yeah.
big lead, and they just sat on the ball the rest of the game. It'd be very interesting to watch that game. I'm looking forward to that. I believe it's the Sunday night game. So
I don't remember.
I'm very excited to watch that. I'll tell you
Either
in a
way,
second.
I am.
It is the Sunday night game.
It is nice. All right,
So
so now let's move on to our pleasers. Pleaser is the opposite of a teaser, where remember with a teaser we added points to make it
mhm,
easier to win, but we lost money. A pleaser goes the other way. We're taking away points, making it harder to win, but because of that, we're getting a lot more money. Okay,
mhm.
so I'm going with Jacksonville and the Jets Miami game. Jacksonville, once again, I think they roll the shit out of Houston. Houston's done. Houston wants that first spot. They're hoping Detroit wins a couple more games so they can get that number one pick. And they're putting out Davis Mills, who he's over. I mean, he's over.
He not good.
So in Jacksonville, and you know, it's funny. I read something about this yesterday. I think it was. Believe it or not, Davis Mills has better stats than Trevor Lawrence. He really does.
I can
Stats
believe it.
wise, but he winning wise, he doesn't. He's over.
Mhm.
So I think once again, the Urban Meyer being gone is a huge factor in this game. Bet heavy on Jacksonville. That's what I'm saying this week. So I'm taking them in the pleaser. I'm also taking the Jets Miami under 35. I think it's a low scoring game altogether. More so because I don't think the Jets are going to score. Miami could score 30, and if they shut out the Jets, I'm still a winner. So my 10 is going to win me 60, and I'm going to be happy.
Love it, love it. You get the new coach or interim coach bump there with Jacksonville, which I think is going to be tough. I really agree with your sentiment there. I mean, there's just been just a bunch of crap there, and now it's gone, just gone.
I agree, and I don't know as a college AD how you justify hiring him as an NFL GM how you justify hiring him. I think
Oh,
he's done. I don't think he ever coaches again. He might do a Pop Warner team, but that's about it.
he'll never have an NFL job again for sure. A college team, there's always those teams out there. There's always those FCS schools that might take a chance on you. Um,
But look at what I mean. Every school he's left, something's happened. Oh, something bad's going on. I'm going to leave. Oh, something bad's going on. I'm going to leave. Something bad's going to go on. I'm going to leave. That happens every time. How do you justify Urban Meyer sitting in your living room with your kid and going, "Hey, I'm going to send. I want to send. I have 3 sons, 3 of them. I am not. If Urban Meyer were sitting in my room right now saying, "Hey, I'm going to give you a full ride to Ohio State, and you're going to make it to the NFL," I don't want him to be any freaking part of you. Screw
here's
you. You're a piece of shit. I'm not sending my boy there. And I bet 90%, especially after you lost an NFL job doing that, nobody's
mhm.
gonna send their kid to him.
Here's the reason why, dude. Here's the reason why. Because every college stop he's been at, he's won. That's why. And if you win,
But he
it's going to
left.
help.
But he left because shit was going down. If he would have stayed, he would have lost. NFL, he didn't get that shot. And I don't see how colleges can do it. But I get
I,
what you're saying. He does win. I get it. He wins in the college. I understand that. I just don't see, especially now. The straw that broke the camel's back was him kicking a kicker in the shin. Like, how do you sit in somebody's living room and justify that? Like, oh, I'm
I
gonna say, I just don't. I don't see it. He's an asshole. Anyway. What's your
I agree.
pleaser this week?
My pleaser is I'm just gonna ride, let it ride. I'm on the Patriots minus 3.5, and I'm on the Bears plus 0.5. So basically, they just have to win the game against Minnesota. That $10 will win me 60. I think I've stated plenty of times why I think New England's going to win this game. I think they're a better team than Indianapolis. I think they're on a great roll right now. I don't see that stopping. Chicago impressed me in the first half last week against Green Bay. I think Minnesota is worse than Green Bay. I think Chicago can pull this out. They're at home. I think they can win this. And I would just say this: with a pleaser bet, it's a risk reward where the risk is low but the reward is high, and you kind of take some chances with a pleaser to see if it'll go through. That's the thing with when you're taking 6 away from the spread, is you're taking a little bit more chance. Why not take a chance with Chicago when Minnesota has been in close games every single week? I think this is a great pick. And Justin Fields looked pretty good in the first half last week. And then he started, and even late in the second half, he was leading them back down the field again to make it closer. I think Chicago wins this game straight up. And if New England can pull it off by at least 4, I'm going to hit my pleaser.
Tough to win by 4. That's more than a field goal, and then that game is going to be tough. But you're taking a chance, and it's not a bad one. The one I don't like is Chicago, but against you, Chicago's 0-4 against the spread as an underdog. For you, Kirk Cousins is 1-9 in Monday Night Football games.
Mm-hmm. You like that?
I think this turns into here's what we've talked about this show. Even we've talked about it a lot before.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a Cook game. I think they run Cook into the ground. They shorten this game up. They don't give Justin Fields a chance to win this game. And I think that's where Minnesota wins it. I hope for your sake I'm wrong, because I always want you to win. When I was looking at this, I go, man, they're gonna make Cook make this a slow game, and then they're gonna make Justin Fields have to beat them instead of making a repertoire. And Matt Nagy, I'm surprised he's still coaching, but I don't think he can rise to the coaching occasion of, okay, we've got to score quick and then defend and score quick, and I don't think he has that in his repertoire. So I don't think they can come back from that, and that's why I think Minnesota wins this outright. But I hope for your sake I'm wrong.
I looked at this game and I saw Minnesota favored by 6.5, and I said, "There's no way they're covering the spread."
There's agree with none. I agree with
that. And like I said, I'm looking at the eye test basically with Chicago, and comparing Green Bay to Minnesota. And Green Bay is superior to Minnesota. They just are. They have better players.
I agree, but I still think that was Green Bay walking into that game going, it's fucking Chicago. We're gonna wipe
they're gonna roll over them, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
And so I think that's what happened a lot, was they kind of just slept and waited for something to happen, and then when it wasn't happen, they turned it on and they just rolled Chicago in that second half like they were nothing. So I think. I really do think that Minnesota wins this game. I think it's a field goal game, but I think Minnesota wins this game. But I hope, like I said, I always want you to win, and I hope for your sake I'm wrong. But you'll notice I didn't touch that game. If I would have touched that game, it would have been Minnesota. Wait, did I put Minnesota? No, I didn't. I would have teased Minnesota up
to instead of -1.
Yeah, -1. So that's where I would have went. But like I said, I hope you're right, and I hope you win.
All right, you ready to talk about your Final Four?
Final Four. Once again, if you're new, I started this a while ago. it's really hard to predict who's going to be in the Super Bowl. It's really hard to predict who's going to be the Final Four, but it's a lot easier to pick the Final Four than it is Super Bowl. And I
Mhm.
did it one week just out of fun, and now we've just kept the trend going. You can bet on this. And when you go to your sports book, either your phone on your app or if you go to wherever you go, um, you're basically saying who is going to win the division, who's going to win the conference, stuff like that. So that's what you're betting on. But we're not making this a bet. We're just saying what we think. This week, I got big changes. I'm going in the AFC. I'm going KC in New England. In the NFC, I'm going the Rams in Green Bay. The only team that is still there, actually, no, I think I had New England last week too.
Yep, you did.
I had New England and Green Bay last week. But this week I changed. Look, KC, I had the Chargers last week. KC shut them down. KC started to look like KC did years before. I thought the league figured them out, and obviously they didn't. They were just having a bad couple of weeks, and all of a sudden
Mhm.
they got it back. I've had Arizona in the NFC forever, but the Rams. Look, they're split. AZ won one, Rams won
Mhm.
one, but Rams won to me when it mattered most. Okay,
Yeah.
it matters most at the end of the season. Every game matters, but at the end of the season, it matters most where you're trending, where you're going into the playoffs. Are you going in as a hotter team, a cooler
Mhm.
team, and if you lose closer to the playoffs, that doesn't look good for you. So
Mhm.
that's why I put the Rams over the Cardinals.
Look, I have no argument with that. I took Arizona out of my Final Four as well. Um, yeah, the Rams just looked like the better. Well, obviously they looked like the better team the other night, but didn't they look like whatever was missing the first time they met, they fixed it,
Correct.
and I think that's super important. And now this makes McVay what 9-1 against the Cardinals since he took
Yep.
over. I think he's 9-1. Um, That's pretty impressive. And I can't argue with you about Kansas City and New England. I too thought that Kansas City was overrated at the beginning. I thought that they were done. And maybe it was just a hangover because they really did in the Super Bowl. They got frustrated and got just
Mm-hmm.
annihilated. I mean, that score, I think it was what 31-9 or 34-9. I don't even remember what it was, but it was not as close as the game was because Tampa Bay took them out of every aspect of the game. And I don't think Kansas City was expecting that. I think it took them a while to recover. Now we're seeing the Kansas City that we expected to see. If this team finishes 13-4, I don't think anybody would be surprised.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you there 100%. Where are you going with your Final Four?
I've got New England, Kansas City in the AFC, and I've got Green Bay, Tampa Bay in the NFC. Um, So we match on three of our teams. I threw Tampa Bay in there just because I thought their win against Buffalo was um, I it was a win against a winning team, which was nice because Tampa Bay doesn't have a lot of those. And I know it's not Tampa Bay's fault. Tampa Bay plays you play the games on your schedule and it is what it is. Um, but that's when you get to the playoffs, Cows, you only play teams with winning records for the most part. And I think you have to you have to make statements against teams with winning records. And if you can't do that, I don't think you're going to be successful in the playoffs. And I know it was against your Bills, but the fact that they won, they found a way to pull that game out. I think that's important for Tampa Bay. I think that takes them back up into the top two in the NFC. And Green Bay is just Green Bay right now. As far as I'm concerned, we're looking at this point, we're looking at a rematch of the NFC from last year.
I agree. So I finally found it. I was looking it up while you were talking. Tampa Bay won 31-9 was the final score
That's
of the
right, because
Super
I had
Bowl.
the over and I didn't get it.
But obviously I can't argue with you, New England KC. Um, Tampa Bay, it's hard to argue against them. And I hate to say this, I really, really do. But God, there's been so much evidence through the years where the refs aren't going to let Brady lose. They just aren't. And I hate to say it, but fuck, there's rules in the NFL now that have come to because of Brady, so Brady didn't lose. I mean, literally that has happened. And it's hard to, there's the memes of, last week's game against Tampa when
Mhm.
dude had freaking Diggs shirt like fucking 3 yards back. He's holding his shirt. And
Mhm.
yeah, it's, I am not crying about the refs. I'm not saying that. It's just, the refs don't let Brady lose. It just doesn't happen. And so it's hard when you're looking at Tampa Bay or the Rams, who are you going to pick?
Mhm.
I'm really just hoping that the Rams don't make it close enough for Tampa Bay to let the refs screw them. And it goes Rams, Green Bay. That's what I'm looking
Here's
for.
here's what I think is going to help. I think that team that gets the first round bye is going to be at way more of an advantage than ever before, because if Tampa Bay gets that week off, I'm putting them in the Super Bowl. I'm
Yeah.
just going to. I mean, I don't see how you can bet against Brady in the playoffs. Two games against the
Well,
Super
and
Bowl.
then
I like his chances.
and then you got to go through Tampa. It's different than going through Green Bay. If you have to go
Mhm.
through Green Bay, that's hard to go to Lambeau in January and win. It's just
Yeah,
too
but
hard.
Brady's done it.
He has. I'm not saying he hasn't. He ain't gonna do it again.
Yeah.
I'm
I
I'm calling that shot right now.
I hope you're right. I really do. I hope you're right. By the way, I think one of the things that we're also not talking about that's super important is, who has a bye week this week? The Chiefs.
Oh shoot, you're right. They do.
They have a bye week. They have they and I don't remember who else has a bye week this week, but I'm going to look it up right now. The Chiefs have a bye week this week, and I think that's going to be super important for them because they have the latest bye week. Or maybe they don't. No, they just played on Thursday, so it's almost like they have a bye week. Um,
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I'm like, wait a
so
minute.
they're getting 10 days of rest, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like a bye week. And this late in the season, I think that totally helps Kansas City. I think they're going to win the rest of their games and finish number 1 seed.
Don't talk like that. All
Oh, I'm
right.
sorry.
All right. That concludes our week 15 edition. I hope you have a great weekend. BS, everyone at home, I hope you have a great weekend. Hope you win big. Hope you take down Vegas. Remember to hit us up with your betting questions, comments, anything. We always love to talk with you guys. There's nothing better when people, I got a friend that texted me yesterday. Oh, check this parlay out. I won. I hit.
Mhm.
And then he goes, notice I only send you the ones I win, not the one I lose. I'm like, let's talk about all of them. But that's all. We all do that. So,
True.
but except on this show, we tell you exactly what we did and what happened. We remind you even if we had a crappy week. But hit us up. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on YouTube. We got our email. Hit us up. Let us know if you have our numbers. Text us. Whatever. We love talking to you guys. So make sure you share us. Make sure you tell everybody about us. Make sure you subscribe. And a reminder, this is purely for entertainment, and we do not guarantee anything we predict. Guys at home, I love you. BS, I love you even more. Have
All
a
right,
great
brother.
weekend, everybody. Talk to you
All right.
later.
Bye-bye, everybody.